Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm your host Priiliyah and welcome to True and Authentic Podcast. I am so excited, you guys. You guys feel the vibe. We have everything set. We have everything ready. I'm on a roll. So in this episode of episode 2, we will be discussing on how to heal. And I know for a lot of us, we are looking for an answer on how to heal. And I know there's a lot of people hurting who need that healing. They need healing in their hearts. They need healing in their souls, their mind, body combined. Can I get an amen? So a lot of people go about answering how to heal based off their perception, and I'm going to go ahead and share mine. But I feel like my perception is the true answer. Sorry, not sorry. If you are new here to the channel and you like what you see, you like the vibe, you like my face, go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and like this video if you haven't already, and don't be afraid to share your thoughts below. So, how to heal. In order to truly heal, you have to focus on yourself. In order to truly heal, you have to focus on yourself. So, before I get into the next point, I want to give an example. Let's say your car broke down, for instance, and you have places to be, you have places to go, you have a job, for God's sake. And let's say you were taking an Uber or you had a driver whatsoever take you to work, but you can't always depend on that because it's costly, it's not dependable, it won't come on time. And so you're trying to figure out how you can fix your car in the fastest way possible, right? And so in order for that car to get fixed, you have to what? You have to focus on the issue, you have to focus on the problem, and then you have to find a solution. You have to find a solution on how to fix the car. So, I mean, probably a crazy scenario. It probably didn't make sense, but I feel like I gave a pretty good scenario. Like, say something's broken and you needed to fix it. You're gonna have to what? Put in the time to get that thing fixed. So a lot of us try to avoid healing ourselves because healing means dealing with yourself. It means dealing with you and your trauma. And let's be real. We could be true and authentic, right? This is why this podcast is called True and Authentic. Let's be real with ourselves, okay? We have a long life ahead of us still. We had a long life to live and we still have more to go. The more you keep on trying to avoid it, the more it's just going to show. It's going to show through you, not just within, but it's going to eventually come out, and then people will start to see how hurt you are. So back to what I was saying, a lot of us try to avoid our trauma because that means dealing with ourselves and our trauma, and that could be a scary thing. It could cause a lot of pain. Pain is going to come anyways because we are all hurt. No matter what we go through, we all deal with some type of trauma, some type of bad situation that, that has occurred in our lives. But that doesn't mean you just ignore it or pass it up as if it was as if it was nothing. Because deep down, you know that thing, that situation, that experience, it hurts you. So what we have to do, the first step we have to do is be self-aware. We have to be self-aware of what's going on within ourselves and the way we act, the way we do things, our mindset, all of that plays a part. Because all trauma does, it molds you. Every experience in our lives, it molds us into this person. It molds us and shapes us into who we are today. So if you don't like the person you've become, it's because you haven't taken the time to go and heal from the things that physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially hurt you, whatever area. So the first step is to be self-aware. We don't want to be alone in our thoughts. We don't want to be alone sitting in our thoughts. We don't want to sit in discomfort of going back into the past of what has happened to us because it hurts. It hurts. It'll be sad. It'll be sad when you go back and reflect. Trust me, I lived it. You'll be sad and then you'll be mad and then you'll start to blame yourself for all these things that have occurred in your life and that have happened to you. But it's not your fault. We are all human. We are all living. We're just learning. We're learning day by day, month by month, year by year. This is our first time as a human, so don't be too hard on yourself. But as I was saying, we don't want to be alone in our thoughts or sitting in discomfort. But if you don't face your trauma, and I mean really face your trauma, then how will you be able to overcome it? How will you be able to overcome your trauma if you don't face it? Are you going to be scared of yourself for all your life? Are you going to be scared to go back in the past? And that's like facing your demon. Trauma is a demon. It basically is, right? I mean, your trauma is holding you back in a sense. It's setting you back in a sense because you're trying to move forward into different levels in your life. But there's certain things you have to overcome, and trauma, I'm telling you, trauma is the biggest step. You'll start to see a big transformation in all areas of your life, spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially. I'm just saying. Healing is not easy, especially in the beginning stage, because you have to relive in your trauma. You have to relive those moments of the horrible things that has happened to you, and you have to relive that in your mind, and then you have to reflect on it, which is a painful thing to do, but it is necessary because we have to overcome it. How do we move forward? How do we level up mentally? Because I think the biggest thing with trauma, first it hits you mentally and it sticks with you mentally, and whatever it happens in your mental, because the mindset is everything, it will plan out everything else in your life. So that's like, it's either a good thing or a bad thing, and in this case it's a bad thing, especially those who try and cope with things by coping in a negative way, a negative lifestyle, negative habits. And you see, it all starts in here. You have to go and reflect on yourself, because whatever is going on in here happens here, and then it starts to show in the way you live your life. So it is necessary. During your healing journey, you will have your ups and you will have your downs, your good and your bad days. It's not always rainbows and sunshine with the healing. It could go either way. You might be happy at first, but most of the time you might be sad, and then you might have your happy days, but then you go back to sad, and it's normal. It's normal, because when you first reflect, I would so recommend journaling, because you don't have to vent to people. Because a lot of people, one of the three things, they're not listening, they're holding things against you, or they really just want to be in your business. Those three. So I recommend journaling because it's just you and it's your book and it stays with you, and you could really express, and I mean truly express how you feel. 100% authenticity, straight up real with yourself. And then once you get out how everything you feel, like once you get out everything about what you feel about what you went through, what you've been through, you'll feel so much better. And I know some people say journaling doesn't work for them. It's probably because it doesn't just stop with journaling. You have to focus on yourself. You have to implement habits into your life, positive habits that will help you format into a better person, a newer version of yourself. Because once you work on yourself, once you go and reflect on your trauma, you're not trying to stay that same person you once were or that you currently are. You're trying to be something bigger than that, something better than that, right? And so it doesn't just stop there. So it is necessary during your healing journey. You will have your ups and your downs. You will have your good and your bad days. But remember, that is a part of your journey. That is a part of your journey to greater things in your life. And there's greater in store for you. Always. Always. Those people who hurt you, those experiences, those aren't there to stay. That doesn't define who you are. Do not let things that have happened to you define who you are as a person. We can all change. Everyone can change. We all have the power. We all have the opportunity to change. It's just, how bad do you want it? Do you really want better for yourself? Do you really want change? Do you really want to heal? Healing to me is reliving your trauma, feeling it, writing it down, and reflecting what has happened to you and how that person or situation made you feel. And then move on from the situation by choosing what you'll do differently if a situation like that ever happened to you again, or making peace, setting those standards and boundaries. So, reliving your trauma, feeling it, writing and reflecting what has happened to you. How that person, situation, or thing made you feel. Moving on from the situation, choosing what you'll do differently. If a situation like that happen to pop up in your life again, because I feel like God does gives us these different scenarios of where it's like he'll just keep giving it to you until you learn from the situation, because you have to grow from that situation. You have to learn something, because if you don't learn something, how do you not know what to do differently? You have to learn the pattern so you could change the pattern, and that you could change the outcome. So yeah, choosing what will happen, what you will do if a situation like that popped up in your life, or just making peace with the fact that that situation has happened, moving on, forgive and forget, setting those standards and those boundaries. And you're going to have to set those standards and boundaries either way, because if you don't, you're just going to repeat the same cycle and the same cycle over and over again. You have to set these standards and these boundaries so these people won't be able to walk over you or disrespect you, or whatever the case is. They will not have that type of access to you like that, because you are raising the bar, you are respecting, and you are showing yourself that you love and care for yourself too much to deal with that ever again. And that's that. And people will literally hate you for that. But you're protecting yourself. You know what's good for yourself, and you know what's bad for yourself. People hate when you have a standard for yourself. But I feel like everyone should have a standard for themselves, because you're not just letting anybody just come into your life and talk to you or treat you any type of way. Like, they hate that you want better for yourself and that you start to do better for yourself. And it's mind-blowing, because these are the same people who aren't doing anything with their lives. They're not doing anything good, and they want to see more people act like them than people who change like you. And it's because a lot of people you may have grew up around to be with, you may have found them along the way, you've been friends with them a long time, or you've been cool with them for a long time, and they have gotten used to this old version of you, and so they're still stuck on the past version of you, so they can't get over the past version of you because they don't want to accept the new version of you. And that sounds like their own problem. Don't let their feelings or their thoughts or their perception of how they feel about you get in the way of you healing yourself and leveling up and changing. When you heal, you change, and not everyone's gonna like you for it, but not everyone matters. This is about you leveling up, doing better for ourselves. Like, we have to do this. Let's win together. Let's win it together. Okay, when it comes to healing, you're always going to trace back to your childhood, because your continuing trauma is formed by most of the events that has taken place in your life. Growing up, 9 times out of 10, most of your trauma is traced back all the way to when you were a child. Let's be real. I'll raise up my own hand. I know for a fact that is me. So when we go back in our trauma, we really have to go all the way from the past. It's just like reading a book. You're not going to start reading a book from the middle of the book. You're not going to know what happened in the beginning of the book because you done skipped. You're like, oh, let's skip back. I don't want to get into that. But then when it's time to tell me what the story's about, you can't tell me from beginning to end. So we have to start from day one. Obviously, we're not going to remember when we were a baby, but there's things that we remember, and most of the trauma is stuff that we remember, but we choose not to focus on because we don't want to get into that. Oh yes, baby, we're getting into that, okay? We have to. It all starts from there. And once you start from there, things will start to get better. It will start to get better because things that might have hurt you, but like your parents, some friends, somebody told you that, let's say you got in yelled at or something, they're like, oh, I'm sorry, like, you want some food or something? Because I know that for sure happened to me and a lot of Black households. But yeah, so it's just like they kind of like brush it off, but they don't really get into a real conversation with you and talk about the way it made you feel and that they won't do it again. Because I feel like if we had more of that, then that kind of trauma wouldn't have been passed on. It could have just been settled right there. But 9 times out of 10, it starts in your childhood. The way you grew up or the way you were raised, how you were treated, and the way you perceive things lead up to the current situation and lifestyle you live today. And I kind of said this. I mean, I'm not even like, before I even got to this part, I kind of went over this. So yeah, it shapes who you are as a person, the way you grew up. Like, I'm telling you, the years go by and everything you experience, it just molds you into who you are today. And so if you don't like the person you are, the person you've become, you can make that change for yourself. You can be that difference for yourself. And I'm telling you, you have the opportunity, you have the power. How bad do you want it? How bad do you want better for yourself? You have to do the inner work. When you do the inner work, it will show in your outer appearance. Everything will start to glow. Everything will start to shift. Trust me. I highly recommend doing shadow work because it asks you some deep questions to get you thinking, like to really get your mind thinking. Because a lot of us, we think, but we're not really thinking. Like, we're not really deep into thinking about ourselves and what's going on. So do shadow work because it will get you to deeper thinking and it will help you to start healing your inner child. Trust me, I got this one book of TikTok shop. Okay, for some reason I couldn't find the shadow work journal, but I will show you guys some books and some journals that I have started to use, that I used throughout the year, that helped me. So I have this personal journal that I use to journal down my thoughts and whenever I feel some type of emotion, because there's just so much pain inside me. And when I journal, I just feel relieved. I feel a little better, like a weight has dropped on me because I have released what I'm feeling inside this book. And I think journaling, not only does it help you feel better, it's good for reflecting back as time has passed on and you get to see how much you have grown since then. So next I'm gonna go and show you guys this other journal. It's called the Stuff I Hate journal. So obviously you could get into this when you're mad, when you're like, oh, I'm just so angry, like I'm so done. These are the things you hate. Like, you hate. It doesn't really have to be a person. It could literally be like, oh, I just hate when this happens, or I dislike this, and da 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 da. So yeah, I got this from 5 and Below, by the way, along with this journal, both from 5 and Below. This book is called The Tears That Taught Me by Morgan Richard Oliver. I got this off the TikTok shop. Really good. And then my favorite, Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. Just so amazing. And I felt like me myself related to some parts of, like, actually most parts of this book. And it's just crazy. Like, I literally started crying. So these type of books, they look similar. Like, I love these type of books. Like, they really get me in my feelings and really just get me thinking. And then the last book, I know this is a part of healing. It's called ABCs of Self-Love. So when we're hurting, and obviously hurt people. So I feel like in order to start patching up and start healing that wound, I feel like it doesn't just stop with journaling. It starts with self-love. So we have to start getting to the acts of self-love and start doing more for ourselves than we do for other people. Yes. It starts with ourselves, and once we get ourselves right, then we can move on to spreading that love to others. Like I said in my last video, so if you haven't, go tune in to What is Love. I did episode 1 and I did a recap episode because I didn't get all my information. Don't worry, I won't have to do that with this episode. Let's get back into it. So yes, I highly recommend doing shadow work. I didn't show you guys a shadow work journal, but if you go and look up online, there's many to choose from, many. And go with a good one. Go with like most bought or most recommended. Okay, our next point. Other recommendations would be reading books, listening to podcasts, that relate to you and your traumas, because it helps you to feel better. It really helps. I know it helps me. And not all these points are going to help you, but you're going to find something healthy that's going to help you. But I really feel like if you're trying to grow and really heal, these are really good things to do. So it will help you feel better, and it will let you receive a better understanding of what you went through and how to pass through it. The only way out is through. Like I was saying, you have to start in, and you can't, like, there's no other way you could get these feelings out, this trauma out, but through. You have to go through. Like I said, it's like reading a book. You have to read all the pages of the book to understand and to get that good ending, that successful summary of what's going on and all that good stuff. The only way you're ever going to understand yourself fully is by doing the things you don't want to do. We obviously don't want to heal. I mean, we want to heal, but we don't want to go through the process of healing, but it is necessary to get that healing result. So we don't want to do these things. We don't want to go through the pain. So the only way you're truly ever going to understand yourself is by fully doing the things you don't want to do and going through the pain, which eventually leads to your healing. You need to ask yourself, do I need more self-compassion or more tough love with myself? Like, do you need to be more tough on yourself to get it done and to get things happening? So you just ask yourself that. You know what you need. You know what's best for you. Nobody else can give it to you. No, I can't even tell you the answer. You have to figure it out for yourself. Do you need to be more or less hard on yourself? In order to heal, eventually you'll have to get away from the crowd. You have to get away from the crowd. You have to get away from your family. You have to get away from your friends. You have to get away from everything and everyone. You have to be locked in, because everything else is simply a distraction. None the more, none the less. And the reason you have to distance yourself from people is because you need to heal. You really need to heal. And the only way you could really do that is by focusing on yourself. And you can't do it with certain people, because those certain people will be distractions for you. And what we need to do in this scenario and in this time and place of you healing and focusing on yourself is remove those people. Those certain people, they are distractions getting in the way of your opportunity to heal, to truly heal and be better as a whole. You know what you need to do. You know who those people are in your life. You need to figure it out. If you are so serious and committed to healing truly and getting yourself together, you will do what's necessary and what's needed. The Bible says, "Yet it is not good for a man to be alone, but bad company corrupts good character." Okay, so the verse is 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33. But I believe that the first sentence, it is from Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. So, yet it is not good for a man to be alone, but bad company corrupts good character. So if you have no one good that's going to be beneficial or add value into your life, then you need to go ahead and cut them loose. You need to go ahead and cut them loose, because if they're not watering, they're not adding to your cup, they're taking away. And even if they're not taking away, they're just a non-factor. Like, they serve no purpose. So if they're not taken away from you and they're just there, they're serving you no purpose, because what are they doing? If they're not adding any good into your life, go ahead and cut them loose, because what's the point? You need to stay in solitude until God sends you the right people for you, okay? This is if no one is good, okay? You need to stay in solitude until God sends the right person for you, and trust that God's timing is perfect, because it always is. So yeah, don't be discouraged. Don't feel lonely. It will get lonely, especially at night. I know for me, I can go all day without talking to someone, because I have things going on for myself. I'm pouring into myself. So if you don't have enough things going on throughout your day in your life, it's because you're not investing in yourself. You're not making things available for you to make it work for you. See, when you have things to do that's good for you, and you're like, it's helping you grow, you won't be so in your thoughts. You won't be in your head as much, because you're actively doing something that's good for you. You won't be sitting there feeling bored or lonely, because you're being productive. You hear me? Like, you're pouring into yourself. The same way you pour into yourself, you need people to pour into you, okay? It's important, because if they're not, there's no point of it. Like, you guys have to understand this. Next point, being self-aware. So now we're going to get into the steps on how to heal. I went over some pointers, but these are the main ones. 5 points on how to heal, and we're gonna wrap this up. So let's get into it. So first point on how to heal, being self-aware, which I kind of got into this earlier, but I'm going to full out explain it right here, right now. You have to become aware of the trauma that you've experienced. Otherwise, how can you heal from something you don't know about nor aware of? So first of all, you might be aware of a bad habit starting to form in your life. Same way you need to be aware of that trauma, girl. You need to start now. You needed to start a while ago, but it's okay. We could start now. The time is now. No better moment than now if you haven't already done so, okay? The next step on how to heal, ask yourself hard, deep questions. You need to ask yourself hard and deep questions. Like, reflecting back on what I said, we need to get into the deep root of what's causing this trauma, this pain, this action, or this lifestyle of how we are as a whole today, how you are as a whole today, and the way you move and the way you act and the way you do things, okay? When you're self-aware of your traumas, go deep into asking questions about the situation to get closer to the root of it, to help solve the problem. Okay, and to also get a better understanding of what's going on, so you know what to do differently, because if you don't learn, then how can you know what to do next? So get an understanding and get closer to the point so we could really get this thing going and working out, okay? Also, setting boundaries and looking to do something differently, which I already went over, so you guys get the point. Number 3, get rid of your vices. What is vices? What is vices? These are the bad habits, right? The addictions. We all have some type of addiction. You need to get rid of it. Getting rid of those bad addictions and bad habits that you lean on to cope and to fix temporarily. Which, I mean, this might cause, it might cause a little war, but I'm sorry to say it, drinking and smoking is not helping you feel better. No matter how it makes you feel in the moment, it's only there to stay for a little while, and then once you're off the high, you're off your own little island, you're back into reality, and snap, just like that, you're back into reality, and then you need another hit, you need another drink, and then the cycle keeps going, and now you're digging yourself a deeper hole. Then you get to a point of where you feel like you have to rely on it. It's your lifeline, and without the lifeline, you can't live. And I'm not saying that's everybody, but some of us, we can control it. But a lot of you guys will get to that mindset of thinking, oh, like, this really helps me, and this is the thing, like, it's really doing it. But really, it's just, I feel like it's such a scam in the most disrespectful way possible. Like, really, it's not doing anything for you. You have to keep running back for more. Like, I don't understand it, but that's my take on it. Anyways, let's get back into this point. Getting rid of those bad addictions and bad habits to lean on, to cope, and to fix temporarily. Getting rid of those bad addictions and habits that you lean on to cope and to fix temporarily. Those things are not going to allow you to get to the root of what the real issue is. Not getting to the root cause of something will always leave you to leaning on something. So because you don't want to heal, you rather avoid what's going on with you inside, and then you would rather go and lean on a blunt, a drink, to treat that wound, because you think that's helping you. But in reality, it's just pushing you away from the real problem, of which is inside of you. I know I just clocked somebody's tea, and I know y'all gonna be mad at me. I know y'all gonna hate me for it, but that's just the real truth. The next point, being authentic. Hello. Staying true to yourself, being honest with yourself and with others, with your experiences and trauma, even if you or they were in the wrong. You being completely honest with how you feel and how you feel about the situation opens up that door for healing to start taking place. And it makes you feel better knowing that you got that feeling or thought out of or off your chest and off your mind, instead of having that feeling of regret of saying you should have said something. So let's say you had a situation with somebody that hurt you, you felt like they done wrong by you, and you might be scared that what you tell them or what you say to them will have them feeling some type of way. Well, it's not about them, right? Because it's really about you, because this is taking a toll on your personal experiences of life. Like, this is messing with you. So in order to heal, you need to be 100% honest and blunt with them. You need to tell them what it is, because the second you start to fake the funk with them and try and sugarcoat things so you won't hurt their feelings, you're really, in the end, you're really hurting yourself, because you didn't stay true to yourself. You're not helping yourself feel better. You're just going back. You're setting yourself back. And then it's like you have to go back and tell them again. And it's just like, girl, like, come on. Like, just be upfront with them. Like, tell them the honest truth. They don't like it. Oh, well. I mean, obviously they weren't meant to stay, and you don't need those type of people around you if they're not going to sit there and listen, or they just want to sit there and defend themselves because they don't want to take accountability for what they did. Clock it. Okay, next and last point, staying spiritually rooted. Consistently being in your word, fasting and praying and talking to God every day throughout your day and journey will bless you in so many ways. Matthew chapter 6 verse 33, seek ye first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. When you really seek God and have that relationship with him, he will help you and guide you through it all. When you really seek God and have that relationship with him, he will help lead and guide you through it all. That's it. I gave you guys all my points on how to heal. I hope it helped you guys. I hope you guys really got a message. If you need to, go back and listen, take some notes, and like, come on, we gotta heal each other. We gotta make the world a better place. I'm here to help you guys. I love you guys so much, and I just want the best for you guys. This is season 1 of How to Love Yourself, and we're just getting started. I am so excited for the new upcoming episodes I have for you guys, so just stay tuned, stay listening. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and go ahead and like and comment your thoughts below. I hope to see you guys in the next episode. Thank you guys so much. Stay blessed. I love you guys. Bye.